Hi, my name is Jennifer Gwinnett, and this is my personal strategy. Here's an outline of what I want to walk us through today. And I'm going to start with a story about a walk. So, while we were in Hawaii this past April, we wanted to find a beach that had big waves. That's what my kids were asking for. So, we were going to try this state park. What we learned about on our way there was that the road to the beach was super treacherous. You should not take your rental car. People were saying huge craters. So we decided our rental minivan was not going to make it. So we parked at the end where the entrance was and we walked. We ended up finding out it was 3 miles to get to the beach. The road was indeed treacherous, huge potholes. I mean, there's no way that we would have made it if we would have driven. This is someone else's picture. And then when we got there were not big waves. And the sun was setting. So we pretty much had to just take a quick swim and then turn around and walk the 3 miles back to the car. On the way back, I thought this was so funny that there were speed bump signs like all the way along. And I thought, what a metaphor for life. It's just one speed bump after another. And I could have been focused on the fact that we had to walk 3 miles. The kids were cranky. No one wanted to carry their stuff, that there were not waves at the beach, that the beach wasn't that great compared to some of the other ones we had tried. But when I turned around and saw the sunset, it was so worth it. And I thought about this project and how it is a metaphor for life. And it was beautiful, but I had to turn around to see it. So, my question after this walk was, how will I thrive among the speed bumps? Because I used to just be healthy and it was easy to be healthy. And now I feel like I have to work to be healthy as I'm getting older. So, I leaned into how to think like Leonardo da Vinci in his book on mind mapping. There's a pretty good section. And I took some of the tips about illustrating it and highlighting things. So, I want to work on physical health, mental health, and spiritual health, which are all things that, like I said, I feel like I have to really work at. But to turn those into assets, I thought about how can those feed my creativity and how can I increase all of those things, and that would pour into an improvement in my overall creativity. So, my hypothesis is improving my physical health will positively impact my creativity. According to Adobe, I'm a luminary. So that means I'm empathetic, intuitive. I'm also idealistic. And I look into the future pretty clearly, I would say. The 10 Faces of Innovation would categorize me, I think, as a caregiver, an experimenter, an anthropologist, and a hurdler, which align with the luminary, in my opinion. So, all in all, my strengths as an innovator, I think, are being optimistically curious, empathizing deeply, and prioritizing human needs, imagining possibilities and envisioning future potentials. And after years of being a designer, I think I really do have a pretty default setting as a designer in terms of a mindset. The barbell strategy that we talked about in class really resonated with me in terms of structuring how I might approach this. So 80% of safe bets versus the 20%, which are out there as more high risk ideas. I think that was an interesting and tangible way to take this on. So my safe bets are things in the categories of exercise, nutrition, spiritual and mental health. Those are all things that I am pretty comfortable with, that I do and I try to stay consistent with. There's a couple things in here that I'm adding after doing a little bit more research on creativity and curiosity. And then the high risk bets are things that are out of my wheelhouse. I've never done before. I'm not sure if it's going to pay off, but I'm curious about it. So my safe bet is maintaining some consistency in those pieces that have to do with nutrition and my physical health and spiritual health. And so I've created this tool for me to keep track because these are things I do, but I don't really keep track and gather data on it. So I'm going to try and prototype this design. I've designed it so it can go into the journal that I keep at work and keep my to-do list on so that it's in my forefront. And each square is 1 week's time. And then my high risk bets are coming out of going to this concierge model for my healthcare to see if that kind of healthcare, where it's more broad and open and is going to look at me holistically, is going to yield the benefits that I want. One of the things that they offered in my first appointment last week was a continuous glucose monitor. So that's been very fascinating for me to wear it and see how what I eat how it responds to my body and how it affects my glucose. So that's been interesting, and I'm learning a lot from that. And then I added this column on the very far right. It's like a bar for measuring curiosity and creativity. And think I'm going to use the tool without that for like the first 6 weeks, and then I'm going to add this measure. And I'm thinking of using it as like a bar graph, so I'll color it in. And the more I color in will indicate how curious and creative I'm feeling. So I'm trying to find a connection between all these things I'm doing to maintain physical health um, and how it does inspire me. So this is how I look at the design thinking process. I feel like it should have curiosity infused in all the steps, and so that's a goal for me, is to just always remain curious. There's a lot in the books that we've been reading about curiosity. How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci talked about curiosity quite a bit. Creative Acts for Curious People mentioned several things that inspired me. And then creativity is also brought up in Creative Confidence and Messy. And these are some of the thoughts that stuck out to me in those readings. So as I use this tool, I'm hopeful that I will see that the more boxes I check on the left, the higher I can color in that bar on the right. This will require some brain space. So I've been looking into transient hypofrontality theory. That's a mouthful, but essentially it's just getting your brain in the flow, getting to that flow state and the relationship between exercise and cognitive function. I've been testing this out by walking and adding walking into my routine with music in my ears so that I've been finding that I am getting more creative thoughts when I'm walking and when I'm not, sitting and doing other things. So that's been also something that's come out of this. It's been really fascinating to me. So I need to do that more consistently. And then I'm working on a physical space, which is super exciting. This has been in the works for a while, but I'm excited to test this out with a new space. This is above what we call the barn, and it's going to be my studio. And as you can see, there's lots of bookshelves for me to keep all my books and a big work table. It's obviously not done yet, but it should be done hopefully in the next month or so. And I'm going to put all of this into practice. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And here's to turning around and seeing the sunset.